Lovely to see you. This workshop is facilitated by Kemble H. This study relies on you listening, but please we pray that you have your big book in hand and follow along with a pen, pencil or highlighter. Make any notes and pause if you have to. Write down any questions and we'll take them at the end of the meeting. This workshop is facilitated by Kemble H today. While we keep everybody muted during the workshop, the audio portion is only recording the facilitators and will be closed at the end of the meeting to preserve your anonymity. So have a lovely meeting today. And here we start is with the step 3 prayer found on page 63, if you care to join me. God, I offer myself to thee, to build with me and to do with me as thou wilt. Relieve me of the bondage of self, that I may better do thy will. Take away my difficulties, that victory over them may bear witness to those I would help of thy power, thy love, and thy way of life. May I do thy will always. Over to you, Kemble.
Okay, thank you, Brother Dan. A happy Sunday, everybody, and happy New Year's Eve. Shoot, I'm a recovered alcoholic named Kimball. It's great to see everybody. I'm glad you can make it today, and we're gonna have a lot of fun going through this doctor's opinion. So, any questions or comments we'll make after the meeting, as this is a facilitated big book workshop, where we'll be going through points and highlights and some experience on from what the first 100 men and women that put this thing together did, and then I can share with you some of my experience relating to their experience and how I recovered from alcoholism. No doubt, the program offers that we recover from this thing. We're not recovering all of our lives, and that causes great dispute. But the book promises us, even from the title page, the story of how many thousands of men and women have recovered from alcoholism. So if we take the process just as they took it, we recover from it. But we're not cured of it, right? We're going to forever have this. We're talking about this allergy today. So we're going to forever have that allergy. But you know, the thing is, we ain't running on our own power today. So we got a defense against that first drink. We got something we can rely on that's greater than ourselves. You know, during my illustrious, very long drinking career, I relied on my own power. I thought I was almighty and all powerful. But you know what? That alcohol kept putting me on my darn back. I ain't got no power because the big book tells us on page 45, the lack of power, that was our dilemma. So we had to find a power that was greater than ourselves. So last week, I want to reflect just on a quick note from last Sunday. Here on page XXVI. Matter of fact, it's down the next to the last paragraph on this very page, where it says the doctor's theory. You got that, Brother Martin? You with us? Where it says the doctor's theory that we have an allergy to alcohol interests us as laymen. Our opinion as to its soundness may, of course, mean little. But as ex-partner drinkers, we can say that his explanation makes good sense. It explains many things for which we could not account for otherwise or cannot otherwise account for. And it does. So when speaking of the allergy, we as laymen have a basic understanding and definition for the word allergy. Now check this out. If we have an allergy to something, it would always seem to be indicated by some form of physical reaction to something. For instance, if we're allergic to strawberries and we eat them, right, we break out in some type of a rash. If we're allergic to penicillin and we take a shot, you know, and if we're allergic to that stuff, it causes welts and things to pop over our body. So if we are allergic to, say, milk or dairy products, and we drink or eat them, then we get a form of dysentery. These are physical manifestations of an allergy. Now, when it comes to alcohol, I could never believe that I had an allergy to it. See, I wasn't breaking out in no warts, welts, or none of this kind of stuff. But I understand it now that I could never safely drink alcohol in any form at all. But then I was asking myself, well, how can I be allergic to alcohol? Shoot, I was drinking at least a half a gallon a day for many years. And I didn't break out. You know, some people I used to hear in the media say I break out in handcuffs and this and that and that. But the problem was when I got an allergy, it means when I take one drink, I have a physical craving in my body, and it demands that I drink more and more. But then as I'm drinking more, I get thirsty as I drink. So I had a chance to share this with somebody in person last night, of course. Cousins of mine, right? And they was trying to determine whether they was an alcoholic or not. I said, well, that's your decision, but you know, I can ask you some questions. Uh, and I told him, I said, shoot, every time I drank, I got drunk because I had this thing going on in my body. And if we leave this physical factor out, then the theory of being an alcoholic is incomplete. So being an alcoholic of my type or our type, see, I'm the real alcoholic that they talk about in the big book on page 21. Well, what about the real alcoholic? He does absurd, insane, crazy things. But you know, there are several different types of drinkers, right? And I'll go over some of them in just a minute. So, you know, if you look, I looked in the dictionary. I got this Webster's dictionary over here, and it talks about an allergy. An allergy is an abnormal reaction to any food, beverage, or substance of any kind. And it's highlighted abnormal reaction. So I was trying to see where I was abnormal to alcohol. See, I drank so much behind this allergy, I could never know what was normal or what was not normal or abnormal. See, for my drinking, hell, I thought drinking the amounts that I was taking, that was normal. That's the way we're supposed to drink, right? So I see these other drinkers, they drink one or two and they ready to throw up. Or they say, no, I done had enough. I don't want no more. And they can just stop. And I'm like, well, dog, why am I getting drunk and staggering and about to fall out every time I'm around these people? Well, they had normal reactions to alcohol. I never had a normal reaction, even from the very beginning. I knew when I took my first drink at 14, I knew I wanted to feel that stuff again. By the time I was 16, I was drinking heavy amounts and I battling with the old drunks in my town. And I was out drinking them guys, and they've been drinking for 40, 50 years. And here I am, a teenager. And I'm out drinking these people. As I look back in my past, I had an abnormal reaction to alcohol from a teenager. And I battled alcoholism for the next 42 years behind it. And have a solution. Without a solution, I was living in step one promise. Shoot, I'm going to drink again. Boom, boom, boom. Every time I promised somebody I wasn't going to drink, every time I promised myself I wasn't going to drink, every time I promised God I wasn't going to drink, shoot, I took a drink. I asked God to help. If I get out of this drunk, I'm going to throw my guts out, the bed turning around. God, now get over this, I ain't drinking no more. Shoot, as soon as that bed stopped turning around, I rolled over and go get me a bottle. Drunk again. Promise. Relapse, no doubt. So, like I said, back to the regular drinkers, right? They said they get like some of them said they get a warm, cozy, comfortable, relaxing feeling, say after one or two drinks. And they don't want any more the rest of the night. Oh no, but not so with a real alcoholic of our type. One or two drinks would just piss me off and it had my body screaming for more. Then if I couldn't get no more, it was going to be a problem. So I always had to make sure that if I go on somewhere to drink, I was usually going to be pretty lit up before I got there. And then once I get there, I was going to tell them, y'all better make sure you got enough around here for me. Drinking incredible, insane amount. And it's just ridiculous. So, and I used to tell them, well, I don't feel that way when I drink. One or two just, you know, it upsets me. No, I got to have this, I got to have that, I got to have more. So, you know, they get a little tipsy. Some moderate drinkers or heavy drinkers, they get a little tipsy. You know, like some of my friends, some of my cousins, some of my family, they drink a couple, they get tipsy, and then all of a sudden, shit, they done went to sleep. Because, you know, they can't take more than one or two. But no, for me, no, we alcoholics can't do that. A real alcoholic, no, we got this allergy, we ain't gonna be able to stop. So they have normal reactions to alcohol. So when it comes to the real alcoholic, we are abnormal when it comes to alcohol. Now, the American Medical Association describes alcoholism as a disease. It's a chronic relapsing brain disease, as they call it. So alcohol is considered a drug as well, and it's a toxic drug. It is a destroyer of human tissue. See, I also had the benefit of taking a lot of medical classes in the VA system, and they taught me a whole lot of things about the effects of alcoholism on the brain and the body. You know, the brain, it can burn up brain cells, it can cause hair loss of memory and different things. Some days now I have to think about what I'm doing to try to remember what I'm doing, because I drank for so long and drank so much. So normally, when it comes to the mind and the body, when we put something in it that's going to destroy us, we'll sense what is there and we react by wanting to throw it up or get it out. So the normal reaction to alcohol is a nauseous feeling in the body. So when it comes to the real alcoholic, the physical reaction is what we suffer from. Instead of nausea, it is a craving for more of the same. So we want more, we want more, we want more. So that is a physical craving. And it is so strong that it overcomes the ability of my mind, you know, to stop me after I start. I noticed this very long. Once I was taking a drink, then when I get that one, then I was just off to the races. So I had an abnormal reaction. Shoot, I couldn't be like my family. Like they take one or two and shoot, they be good to go. But no, here I am up drinking all night long. They done spent 8 hours in the bed sleeping or whatever, and I'm still up the next morning drinking. I ain't even been to sleep, right? So it's something pretty abnormal. Means something was going on in my body, and I couldn't shed it off. So non-alcoholics don't get this physical craving. We react abnormally in two ways. It makes us feel differently than normal people. Yeah, normal people don't develop this craving in their bodies. Oh, so, but for us, real alcoholics, it produces. Now, alcohol produces what we call a phenomenon of craving. It's a physical craving. Ensures we will continue to drink until we get drunk every time we take a drink. I had this experience, and I'm sure if everybody in this meeting probably had the same experience. So that's why we're here. So, because we couldn't stop, no doubt. Or we could stop when we pass out, or we blacked out, or we went to jail or something, right? Or we could stop when we were dead, you know. But you know, we blessed today to be alive and kicking, and we found this program of recovery in Alcoholics Anonymous. So now, I just want to touch back on that little part. So now we'll roll on to the next page, where we stopped. Where we stopped last week. It says, okay, where it says follow a few simple rules. That'll be on page. Let me find my page. Hold on. Page XXVIII. Here we go. Yeah, I'm gonna go right there. So, men have cried out to me. No, to take that page number back. My bad. XXIX is where I want to go. First full paragraph, and it reads, on the other hand, and strange as this may seem to those who do not understand, once a psychic change has occurred, the very same person who seemed doomed, who had so many problems he despaired of ever solving them, suddenly finds himself easily able to control his desire for alcohol. The only effort necessary being that required to follow a few simple rules. The simple rules that we follow are simply the 12 steps. The promise of having a psychic change. It's a spiritual awakening. You know, and it will solve all our problems. The big book tells us, you know, when we find this power greater than ourselves, it will simply solve your problem. Actually, it'll solve all our problems. The power that I have is God, is the creator of the heavens and the universe and the earth, creator of me, my body. He created my body. So then it goes on to say, Men and women have cried out to me in sincere and despairing appeal. Doctor, I cannot go on like this. I have everything to live for. I must stop, but I cannot. You must help me. Yes, I felt the same way, Pete. Well, shoot, I was saying I can't go on like this. I don't want to live like this no more. And it was solidified by taking another drink. So I was saying in my mind, I don't want to feel this way, but the craving for liquor, when I took one, I couldn't stop, couldn't shut it off. So faced with this problem, if a doctor is honest with himself, he must sometimes feel his own inadequacy. Although he gives all that is in him, it is often not enough. Important point coming up. One feels that something more than human power is needed to produce the essential psychic change. So, in other words, what this big book is telling us, we cannot solve our problem with human power alone. Medicine, psychology, religion, none of those are good enough. I've tried all of these means. Yes, I'd like to share quite a bit. And when I was in this organized religion, I preached every day, talking to people everywhere I went, and simply just to drink again that day. Religion was never enough. I didn't have a relationship with God. The power is simply greater than myself. I didn't have a relationship, though I was preaching. Today, thanks to this program with Alcoholics Anonymous, it caused me to have a relationship with God, and it simply solved my problem. So nowadays, I can preach today for the last 4 years and still sober. So thank God for that. All because of what this program does. Now, if you will, while I'm right there talking about the psychic change, I'd like to go to the spiritual appendix in the back, page 567, and appendix 2, as a matter of fact, where it talks about a spiritual experience. And it's going to read, the term spiritual experience and spiritual awakening are used many times in this book, which upon careful reading shows a person to change sufficient to bring about recovery from alcoholism has manifested itself among us in many different forms. You know, spiritual experience, spiritual awakening, a psychic change, a personality change, religious experiences. All of these things are the same thing. But Bill used different words to explain. They all have the same meaning, but Bill likes to use different words. And then he also talks about, in this very same, the next chapter, paragraph, he talks about an immediate and overwhelming God consciousness. That's another one. Followed at once by vast change and fielding the outlook. Transformations. Many of our experiences are what the psychologist William James calls the educational variety. That's another form of the psychic change. You know, some of us have an immediate change and others have an educational variety. Mine took a little bit longer than most people because I was still trying to do all this stuff on my own. So, you know, there's many things this book talks about when it comes to this psychic change and spiritual experience. But you know, in order to gain that, we got to go through the book, right? I had to be taught what was in this book. I had to be taken through this book, line by line, page by page. Then I had to see what these people was really talking about, and when they explained to me, and I could relate to it, then I was able to incorporate what I was learning in the program of Alcoholics Anonymous, how I could apply it into my life. You know, here on how it works, right? It talks about, matter of fact, I'm gonna go there right quick. It says on page 59, it goes on to read, here are the steps we took, which are suggested as a program of recovery, right? Well, I used to read them steps on the wall. They said, this is a suggestion. I go read the steps on the wall in a meeting. Okay, I got your suggestions. I walk out the room and go get drunk. The very same as soon as I go out the door. So these suggestions just can't be suggestions for a real alcoholic, regardless. Because I'm going to drink again. So it had to be some must put in there for me. You know, the big book has a lot of must in it, right? It's not commands, but You know, it is suggested. It's suggested you can take the steps, or it's suggested you don't take the steps, right? So, but they was must for me. It had to be must. Because I was a hard-headed joker since I was a child, right? I would not believe nothing. If you tell me something, I'm gonna investigate it, and I'm gonna try just the opposite. Because I didn't believe what you were saying. No, I used to get many butt whoopers growing up. I can laugh today running from my mom and grandmama and my aunts because they gonna tear my butt up. Because I was hard headed. So when it comes to this alcoholism, for 42 years, I didn't want to hear this junk because I got sent to AA back in 1983 when I'm a soldier. Oh no, you ain't finna tell me you want me to stop drinking. No, sir. So they sent me to AA, and the guy that went with me, he happened to be my squad leader at the time. So he took me to the meeting. I ain't understand nothing these people were talking about. Only thing on my mind was, I wish y'all hurry up. I need to get out of here and go get me another drink. So me and him both left the meeting. We went and got towed up at his house. So, but that's without a solution. So then it talks about that. So next paragraph. It says, I do not hold with those. Still on page XXIX. It says, I do not hold with those who believe that alcoholism is entirely a problem of mental control. The problem is not a lack of mental control. The big book says the problem centers in the mind. True enough, it centers in the mind. But that's not the problem. I'm going to share with you what the problem is. It says, I'm going to continue with the reading first. It says, I've had many men who had, for example, worked a period of months on some problem or some business deal, which was to be settled on a certain date, favorably to them. They took a drink a day or two prior to the date, and then the phenomenon of craving at once became paramount to all other interests. Oh boy, just a moment. So that the important appointment was not met. These men were not drinking to escape. They were drinking to overcome a craving beyond their mental control. I see a lot of people in the meeting say, and now if they've been there sober, they come to the meeting, they've been sober, even if they've been sober for months. I hear them say, I'm craving for a drink. Well, we can't crave for a drink unless we put one in, right? But see, they get it twisted. We don't crave for this stuff. It's got to be put in. The craving cannot start unless you drink. But then, when that phenomenon of craving kicks in, it overpowers. It overpowers our mental control. We can't shut it off. Our brains cannot shut off the phenomenon of craving once it develops. And I'm gonna share a little bit about this phenomenon of craving as well. This thing's no joke. So, and it devastated me for many, many years. So, when it talks about the chronic alcoholic, Bill Wilson talks about the chronic alcoholic, and this is a reaction over and over and over again. And then when the phenomenon of craving is something that we do not understand. But then craving, you're talking about a craving in the mind, right? But in the big book, we're dealing with the body. That's where the craving starts in the body. It's not in the mind. Your mind do not crave a drink. It do not crave a drug. That's what a lot of misinformation I used to get over the years in the fellowship. But the program lays it down home. So like I said, the craving happens once we put a drink or two in our body. And it produces this physical craving for more and more and more. Wow. So back when this big book was being written, medical science had not yet uncovered the chemical breakdown that occurs in the body. That is why Dr. Silkworth called it a phenomenon of craving. Today, science has discovered the exact reaction that takes place when we ingest alcohol. So you can imagine Dr. Silkworth seeing all the heartbreak, families being tore up, there's alcoholics and addicts are dying up that he was treating there at the hospital in Towns Hospital. So, wow, that's pretty amazing because he worked with over 40,000 alcoholics. Now he's seen all this stuff way before science could prove things. And we're very grateful for him. So when it's dealing with the abnormal person, the abnormal drinker, they'll say, estimates, it says 1 to 2 out of 10 who cannot drink safely, we have a disease to what we call alcoholism. By the way, that's all the word disease means is something that separates you from a sense of ease, something that separates you from the normal thing that happens to most people. When we alcoholics put a drink in our bodies, the same thing starts to take place for all of us. The mind and the body recognize what it is. And yes, when we get the ease and sense of comfort of taking that first drink, our body says, oh, there it is. You done fed me my medicine now. Shoot, and then we're going to drink more and more. So, but then it talks about the enzymes, right? The enzymes, we got enzymes in our bodies, right? And it starts and attacks the alcohol, and then it breaks the alcohol down to acetaldehyde, as they call it. Then it takes it to diacetic acid, and finally, over more time, to acetone. So this stuff breaks it down over a period of time. So, but the thing, let me share this with you, then I move on. It is the acetone that's in our bodies that creates the physical craving. For the alcoholic, alcohol is broken down or metabolized at a significantly slower rate of 3.4 ounces per hour, or a half ounce per hour, or even 1/5 of an ounce per hour, depending on the enzyme production, which is directly related to the stage of alcoholism we are in. That is some very important information. And thanks to medical science, you know, I've been in so many hospitals and treatment centers. They was telling me my enzyme levels were so high, right? And my body couldn't hardly break it down. That's why alcohol, when I developed that physical craving, couldn't shut it down. The enzymes got so screwed up and out of whack. I was destined to die. I was headed to an alcoholic death. It hadn't been for this program, about me accepting what this program had to offer, I would probably be gone today. So then I want to talk about back to the top of the page. Yeah. So these men were not drinking to escape. See, some people will give you the excuse, even us alcoholics. Well, why did you get drunk last night? Oh, I was drinking to escape, get away from, I was stressing out. My wife had upset me, or the children broke a fingernail or something. And we made all kind of excuses to take a drink. But then when we took that drink, that craving, that phenomenon of craving kicked in, and it just, our mental control just took over our mental control. We couldn't stop it. We couldn't shut it off. So then back to the reading. Here on top of page XXX. Yeah. Pardon. So there are many situations which arise out of the phenomenon of craving, which cause men to make the supreme sacrifice rather than continue to fight. At certain times, nothing is more important than satisfying the craving. Now it talks about the supreme sacrifice, right? Do we understand what the supreme sacrifice is? We sacrifice ourselves to fix our craving. I mean, we run over families, we run over employers, we run over our friends, because alcohol becomes the most important thing that's in our mind once this craving develops. So we keep on going. We keep on going. Some even do things that cause them to have an early death. You know, I remember some situations I've been in. I could have been killed. Drunk one night many years ago. And down south, we grow a lot of watermelons and peaches and stuff, right? Here I am drunk in the middle of the night. Want something else to drink, or maybe want some drugs. We go in these people watermelon fields. We go in their peach field. Next thing you know, they shooting at us. So the fools could have shot and killed my butt, right? I'm out there taking their stuff. It ain't even aware of it. Can't even hardly stand up, and here I am throwing watermelons, loading the truck up. You know, crazy stuff. That's a supreme sacrifice. I could have died that very night. Another instance. December 20th was the anniversary of me being in a war zone, right? That's why I developed PTSD. and I tried to cure my PTSD with alcohol because I didn't know I had what we call this phenomenon of craving. So I remember one night in the war zone going down there and got full of alcohol. I thought I was invincible. And here I am sacrificing myself because I didn't think them bullets could hurt me. That is insane. That's what alcohol did to me. I thought, shit, can't nothing hurt me. That's insane thinking. To these folks, I should have been dead today. But you know, these fools that were shooting at me, they were not good shots. Because the damn bullets was flying over here and over there, and they were 50 feet away from me. Needless to say, I had to take care of them, and I should leave it at that because I don't really like to get into that. But anyway, thanks to this program, I survived another year on the anniversary of the most traumatic event in my life. This program did this. Now, let's talk about the classification of alcoholics. Oh, yes. So, the doctor goes on to write, the classification of alcoholics seems most difficult and in much detail outside the scope of this book. There are, of course, the psychopaths who are emotionally unstable. This is class 1 of alcoholics. They're emotionally unstable. The psychopaths are some unstable people, no doubt about it. But you know, there's much more outside the scope of this book, as the doctor brings out. And since this book was printed, you know, like I said, science undiscovered a lot of things. Doctors undiscovered a lot of things about what alcoholism does to us, what it does to the brain, what it does to the body. I have a book here that I studied. I hadn't studied in a while, but alcohol affects every organ in our body. That's the physical part. You know, our bodies are physical. Alcohol screws with every organ we have today. So true. And it causes all other kind of illnesses in the body as well. Like you can develop neuropathy, diabetes, or just several other things. I had this experience. I have both of those illnesses right now due to my long drinking career. See, alcohol has a lot of sugar in it, right? And it developed type 2 diabetes in my body. Neuropathy, nerve pain. I developed all of this from my long drinking career. But see, I had to go through this stuff. I had to experience all of this stuff. So then back to the reading, it goes on to say we are all familiar with the psychopaths, you know, familiar with this type. They're always going on the wagon for keeps. They are over remorseful and make many resolutions, but never a decision. Over remorseful, right? These psychopaths, they get drunk, they do all kind of crazy things, they come back. I'm sorry. They start even have a few tears in their eyes. We all done tried that. I could probably fit this description too, because shoot, when I come back from Panama out there war zone, shoot, I was unstable. My mind was definitely unstable. So, and then I said, I come back crying. I never do it again. And when it comes to talk about resolutions, right? The New Year's coming up here in a week or so, right? A lot of people make New Year's resolutions, right? Shoot, after about the first or second year of my drinking career, I used to make them same resolutions, only to break them again on the same day. So, then over the 40 years, shoot, I tell the doctors, the lawyers, my wife, my kids, anybody in the world, I ain't drinking no more. Shoot, same day. I'm lit up. I couldn't go a day. I'm just gonna be honest with you. I could not go a day. If I went a day without drinking, I didn't even feel right. I had headaches, and I'm like, what the hell was wrong with me? Then the thought used to hit me. I know how to fix this. Boom. As soon as I get that drink, I felt normal, right? I couldn't distinguish the true from the false, man. I hated the feeling of being sober. I really did. Today I love it. I wouldn't trade this in for nothing in the world, peeps. Then it talks about never a decision. We always over remorseful, and make many resolutions, but never a decision. Shoot, the only decision I could ever make was, oh, give me another drink. That was my decision. That was my way of life. See, alcohol became my master, just like Bill Wilson describes in his story. When alcohol becomes your master, it becomes above and beyond all other things in life. I remember having court dates back in the day, knowing I had to be there on a Friday. So I tried to tell myself on Monday, I ain't drinking this week. So after I go to court, shoot, come Wednesday, I take the drink. I wasn't going. Friday, shoot, no, I'm still drinking from Wednesday. I ain't going up there in that courtroom smelling like alcohol. They're gonna lock me up anyway. So I wouldn't go. No. Now back to the reading. There's a type of man who is unwilling to admit that he cannot take a drink. Now this is the second class of classification of an alcoholic. The denial part. Yes, unwilling to admit he cannot take a drink. So how many of us used to hear from friends this frothy emotional appeal? They tell us, well, you can't hold your liquor. Maybe you need to stop. Well, I can hold it all right. Let me show you. Boom. Drunk. We couldn't admit that I couldn't take a drink and act normal. No, I faced this so long. So that's being in denial. Denial is a huge problem. And see, denial comes from self. See, our biggest obsession is with ourselves. Our biggest problem is with ourselves. We are the ones who are stopping any progress. Self. So here's my man. He plans various ways of drinking. He changes his brand or his environment. Yeah, no matter what brand we change to, we can switch from beer to liquor. We can switch from white liquor to brown or red liquor. Wine, we can switch from stop drinking that to drinking a wine cooler. Don't matter what kind. Whatever we change, the changing brands ain't never helped me. It just gave me something different to drink at the time. Or changes his environment. Well, every time we get drunk, we can't just change our environment. We just can't pack up and move to another place. Because, you know, the thing about changing your environment, when you change it, your butt going right there with it. You're going to be there. So changing environments, that never worked for a real alcoholic of our time. No. Because we sure can leave ourselves here and then be somewhere else. No. Not so with the real alcoholic. Now, here's the third class of alcoholic. It's the delusional type, right? So there's the type who always believes that after being entirely free from alcohol for a period of time, he can take a drink without danger. Yes, this is so crazy right here. And the big book's got examples, which we're going to go through in the program of action, not right now. But anyway, some of us think we qualify to drink like normal people when we get a certain period of sobriety, whether it may be a week, it may be a month, 6 months, a year, even. And then the big book says, well, let them try leaving liquor alone for a year. See how well that worked. It didn't work for me. Oh, after about a week, I couldn't take it no more. No, I just didn't feel right without a drink. No. Then when I took that first drink, I felt normal again. I could function again, you know? Yeah. So that's the delusional type. See, because the big book talks about this illusion. Here on page 30 of the big book, I think it's page 30. Let me roll over there real quick. And that's why I wanted to talk about this right here. Because it goes on to say on page 30 of our big book, it goes on to read, most of us have been unwilling to admit we were real alcoholics. Yeah, boy. No person likes to think he is bodily and mentally different from his fellows. Therefore, it is not surprising that our drinking careers have been characterized by countless vain attempts to prove that we could drink like other people. Now, here's the catch, though. The idea that somehow, someday, he will control and enjoy his drinking is the great obsession of every abnormal drinker. The idea, see, the problem, it starts in the mind. The problem centers in the mind. So we come up with all these good old ideas. So I'm going to drink like this person. Yeah, I'm going to drink me too, and I'm going to shut up and go home and go to sleep. Oh, not so with the real alcoholic. No, sir. So here it goes on to say, the persistence of this illusion is so astonishing. Many pursue it into the gates of insanity or death. We learn that we had to fully concede to our innermost selves that we were alcoholics. This is the first step in recovery. The delusion that we are like other people or presently maybe has to be smashed. So who does the smashing? We have to smash the idea that we can drink like other people. Once again, our greatest obsession that this book is talking about is obsessed with self. Yeah, I can fix myself, but a sick mind can't fix a sick mind, right? I had that experience. I tried for 40 years to fix my own self, and by George, it never did work. Another drink, another debacle with the bottle, another trip, back flat on my back in another hospital, a detox center, a psych ward, locked up, all that good stuff. So this is it. So here we go. There is the manic depressive type, who is perhaps the least understood by his friends and about whom a whole chapter could be written. Then there are types entirely normal in every respect except in the effect alcohol has upon them. They are often able, intelligent, friendly people. This is the fifth classification of an alcoholic. The class 4 was the depressed. In case I don't remember if I said that or not. But anyway, most of us were able, friendly, and intelligent people until we take a drink. Yeah, we all good. We all would have good morals. We'd have good character. For a real alcoholic of our type, we was fine until we took that first drink, and then it set off that phenomenon of craving, and our behavior changed, and everything else changed. Life was totally different. Say a couple of hours ago, we sober, and then we decided to take that drink, and life became a whole different ball game. So it says the delusion that we are like other people, or present and may be, it has to be smashed. Ain't nobody smash it for us, peeps. We got to plant that idea that they're presenting here in this book. We got to plant it in our head, and we got to practice it. We got to do something about it. It's just go through the course of action. That's the solution. The only solution for alcoholics of our type is a spiritual solution. It is simply spiritual. We already talked about the spiritual experience in the back of the book. That is simply the solution as we go through the process. This big book gives us a recipe, clear-cut directions from the title page all the way through on how they recover from alcoholism. We had experience, and then we recover from alcoholism, and we carry this message to another alcoholic who needs our help. So, all of these and many others, now it's still dealing with the 5 different types of alcoholics. They have one symptom in common, and that's what makes us alcoholic. This one symptom makes us an alcoholic, and this is the first symptom. They cannot start, my baby's home. They cannot start drinking without developing the phenomenon of craving. This phenomenon, as we have suggested, may be the manifestation of an allergy, which differentiates these people. We're talking about people like us. This manifestation of an allergy, it sets us apart as a distinct entity. See, this phenomenon of craving sets us apart from all other drinkers in the world. Because everybody that drinks not an alcoholic. We got these normal drinkers. We got these heavy drinkers. But then we got the real alcoholic. And that's the class that I'm in. I'm sure that's the class that we are all in, because we wouldn't need AA without it. If I could stop my own self from drinking years ago, like I tried, I wouldn't have accepted the plan outlined in this book. But I couldn't stop, no matter how hard I tried, no matter how great the wish or necessity was. I could not do it. So this is the chronic condition. When we have this phenomenon of craving that classifies us as a chronic alcoholic, a real alcoholic, and as Bill Wilson says, the true alcoholic. So it has never been by any treatment which we are familiar permanently eradicated. The only relief we have to suggest is entire abstinence. Key point. That's the only relief that they can suggest is entire abstinence. Even today, science ain't figured out no cure for alcoholism. No, the only thing, but AA has come up with a plan. Shoot, take the 12 steps, have a spiritual awakening to simply solve your problem. See, because on page 45 of the big book, it talks about lack of power. And if you want to scroll over to page 45, I'd like to run through it. The first paragraph here on page 45, it says lack of power. That was our dilemma. We had to find the power by which we could live. And it had to be a power greater than ourselves. Obviously, that's one of the short one word sentences in the big book. But where and how are we to find this power? Well, this book is going to show us where to find this power at. Now, this is from the paragraph We Agnostics. It's going to show us where and how to find this power and then how to connect with this power. Well, that's exactly what this book is about. Its main object is to enable you to find a power greater than yourself. Now check this out, which will solve your problem. If a problem solved, are we still suffering from it? No, sir. People want to argue with me all the time. I'm recovering the rest of my life. No, sir, ma'am, you're not recovering the rest of your life. If I had the flu 25 years ago, I'm still not recovering from that stuff from 25 years ago. I don't recover from it. It's gone. It's been removed. Just like in my case now, I recover from alcoholism. I have a daily reprieve. I have a program to follow. I have a God that takes care of my problem. So I'm not recovering from when the problem's been removed, we're not suffering from it no longer. So that's all I have to say about that little part. We can't suffer from something that's been removed. My darn right hip, I got replaced. I was suffering from chronic hip pain and growing pain for about a year. Had my hip replaced back in October. Now I'm recovered from this hip surgery. I'm up and moving around like a champ. No pain on this right side. So I ain't suffering from that right hip. I had total hip replacement. I ain't suffering from that pain no more. I done recovered from it. Shoot, I went through a recovery process, just like the 12 steps in this book. This is a recovery process. But when you finish it, boom, the changes has been done. Like the Lord says, it is finished. But we keep practicing these principles. We don't give up. We never graduate from this thing. So my time is about running out. Let me see what time it is. I may not be able to finish this day, and I won't. I'll get ready to stop right here. So now this immediately, last paragraph, and I'm gonna stop right here. This immediately precipitates us into a seething cauldron of debate. Much has been written pro and con, but among physicians, the general opinion seems to be that most chronic alcoholics are doomed. Yes, chronic alcoholics are doomed unless they can stop drinking permanently. So that's what we strive for, permanent recovery, right? That's the goal. That's the purpose of this program. But shit, we're going to have ups and downs. Now, like I say, in my case, the 40 years of drinking. I've been having big books since way back in 83. I used to try to 12-step myself, though, right? See, I thought, like I was saying, I'll share with you again. I thought I had the power to stop my own self from drinking. I used to tell myself, I started myself drinking, and I can stop myself drinking. But see, that was living a lie. I couldn't distinguish the true from the false. I was lying to myself. But this book and this program showed me what the problem was, showed me what the solution was. And then it's going to show us a program of action and to simply solve our problem and to keep it solved. And we'll talk a little bit more about the solution next week. But I do want to share one more thing. Then I'll be quiet. I do believe in this. Found back in page 85. Nope, page 84. Now, if a problem has been removed, right, the bottom of page 84, I'd like to share this. And we have ceased fighting anything or anyone, even alcohol. Notice it said we have stopped fighting anything, anyone, even alcohol. For by this time, sanity will have returned. We will seldom be interested in liquor. If tempted, we recoil from it as from a hot flame. We react sanely and normally, and we will find that this has happened automatically. And we will see that our new attitude toward liquor has been given us without any thought or effort on our part. It just comes. That is the miracle of it. We are not fighting it. Neither are we avoiding temptation. We feel as though we have been placed in a position of neutrality, safe and protected. We have not even sworn off. Instead, the problem has been removed. It does not exist for us. We are neither cocky nor are we afraid.